All right, guys, here's the USPSA match breakdown. Long story short, I came in fifth in carry optics at 81%. The carry optics field is the strongest field in the club. Number one and number two for the match overall were both carry optic shooters, so you can see them at the top there. So 81% is pretty bad. I'm generally on Dazzy. I'm between 85 and 90% of his score. So I underperformed from where I normally am. But coming into the match, there was a lot of rain in Texas. I was doing a good bit of travel for work. So I didn't get to practice like the way I normally practice. And honestly, since it's an oil field classic, I've just kind of been taking it easy for the most part, not really pushing hard in practice or try fire. And so that's been good. So I shouldn't be expecting big results, but that's kind of where it is. Ultimately, I'm at about 120 seconds or whatever it is, and the time to get to was closer to 90. So one stage I had a malfunction that was good for 4 seconds of that time, and that would have put me right in line with the number 3 and 4 shooters on the raw time. But that's kind of where it is. So let's get into it.
All right, so here's the first stage. My cameraman had a malfunction, so you missed the draw, but just know that it's glorious. So you had two paper and plate, a knockdown plate that you shoot through this window. Then you had an open target and a tuxedo target there on the left. You advanced, and then there were like 3 targets on the move, and then the option of shooting a tuxedo from while you shot these guys on the move, or potentially going to the window and shooting again 2 paper, 1 plate, and then the tuxedo through the window, which I think probably was the way to do it. Ultimately, I had issues on this stage because my willingness to support the match and volunteer, I am not getting to walk these stages and really rehearse it. And I was like 3rd down in the order, so I didn't have as good of a routine kind of planned as I wanted to, but let's see what we get here. Took those guys on the move, did good shot calling, but that makeup shot right there is 0.5 seconds, and I was probably, I was 3 seconds off the pace, so we found 0.5 seconds there in that makeup shot on the move. And then I sent 2 additional makeup shots there at this hardcover target right there. I could have shot him through the window. It would have cost me body position moving time versus kind of right here, but it would have been easier shooting. So I think I don't know, maybe it was a wash, maybe it was faster, I'm not sure. It was a bad reload. Leaving that position right there, getting to this position was kind of slow. I'm shooting on the move slowly. I probably would have been better off just booking it to the corner and shooting as soon as my feet settled. This target right here, I didn't call my shots on real good, and I had a hardcover mic just on the piece of tape, so that sucked. So all in all, that stage was not a strong start to the day, and I might have to figure something out with this match director thing. Maybe I just on the first stage I just bumped myself to the bottom of the list so I can actually get my head in the game, because it is unfortunate to volunteer and not be able to shoot to the level you'd like to. Okay, on this stage, Dazzy ran away with it. He was about a second faster on each string, so he had 2 seconds on me on this stage, and that's just being better at shooting than me. So that's going to be a tough one to overcome. I got to get better at shooting. But my strategy on this one was right, left for the first string, reload while advancing, then left, right. And then a good thing to do is I took my reload magazine out of my gun, which had 14 rounds in it at that point, put it back in the first pouch so it would seat nicely on the reload. And then I would get this second brass magazine and put it into the gun so it would drop free nicely. And all of that went well, so I was really satisfied with how that went, but let's see how it went. Pretty spicy draw. All right, that all went well. You can see me police my mags and do all that good stuff with my GM make ready routine. Guys, if you're helping out, see how the RO picks up my mag, throws it out of the thing so I don't trip on it. That's good work right there. Good job, Craig. You're a bro. But yeah, there we go. GM make ready routine, second string. And on this string, you can see my whole body is indexed on this target. My knee is turned toward it. My hips have opened up to the target. I am pointing at this target with my shoulders, my hips, just not this leg. This leg is not indexed at it because I have to keep both toes touching the fault line, but this is good. This is good to index on the target that you want to draw to, because you're more likely that your gross sight picture is going to be better when your whole body is pointing at the target as opposed to just your upper body or whatever it is. So I am facing down range, because you can see kind of my hat cam. I'm kind of pointing off into that corner of the berm, and by USPSA rules, that is considered down range. So use that as much as you can. So that was pretty good. That last transition was pretty spicy. If I could shoot like that all day, that'd be good. So that was pretty good. 86%. If I had not shot 2 Ds and I had a D on this target and this target from just swinging the gun so fast, and then I would have shot a 90%, and that would have bumped me to master as opposed to being number 6 in A class, which at 84.48% for the month of November, December. So hooray, I guess. All right, guys, so on this stage, I was beat by about 7 seconds, and that popper didn't fall over, which kind of hosed me with a mic, but whatever. And you can just watch that I just shot it way too slow. I was bullseye shooting everything, and as a result, I was about 7 seconds off the match winner and about, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 seconds off the pace by not just shooting aggressively and calling my shots. My points were excellent, however, I think I probably could have executed a simpler stage plan. So that being said, you were basically you could start at this port, you could go to about here, which is what I do, or you could run even forward of that to the kind of the point of the triangle and then retreat back. There were more steps involved in that, but either way, I should have just been more aggressive swinging the gun around. And I think just the amount of time I spend shooting is what hosed me on this one. And the 2 makeup shots on the steel popper, that's probably just over a second in wasted time. And that was a really bad wide transition. That was another really bad wide transition. And then 2 makeup shots to finally get it and doesn't fall over. That was kind of a lousy reload. There's about a half second there. So we found about a second and a half and just wasted time. So that'll put me about 5 seconds off the pace. But I think the rest of it is just the speed at which I'm shooting these targets. And you can see when I talked about, you could have come to this position up front and shot these targets, and that steel right there, doing it that way, you had to shoot this tuxedo from the first position, which was absolutely doable and probably what I should have done. So I think that was a tactical error. I should have just chose the simpler plan and run it really aggressively. But you can see that I would have had to pick up those that additional distance. But when I got to this position, I would have been eliminating this wide transition over here from that activator sequence. So it wouldn't have been as much of a loss as I'm making it sound like because of eliminating the wide transition. So I think I just bid on a bad plan there. I'm not sure what plan Dazzy and Steven shot, but regardless of what I did, I can't be shooting these 0.5 splits and expect to win. Okay, so on this stage I had 2 boo-boos. The first boo-boo, which I'm now going to share with you, is your mags are not always going to be 23+1 reliable. In 100-degree temperatures, when the lubricant on my gun is nice and slick, I can get 23+1 out of 6 of my different magazines. And when it's 65 degrees air temp, I can get it out of 0 of my magazines, because you're going to see a malfunction on this stage. And I tested it with my TTI, immediately went to the test fire bay and tried the TTI to see if it would even do 23+1 in this, because it had been pretty reliable on that. But no, it wouldn't do it either. It had a malfunction as well. So this is a 24-round stage, and I was going to do it without reloading, which was kind of dumb because there are 2 pieces of steel, as you can see here. And there was a nice pocket of time to reload right there that wouldn't have cost too much time. So ultimately, I ended up being about 4.5 seconds off the pace due to my reload, and you'll see how long it took me with my malfunction here. So burned down a draw here on about a 0.12 or 1.2, and then I have a nice 4.32 second malfunction, which would have put me right on top of the match winner for his raw time. And this retreat was weird. This was a bad stage design. So there's my barricade. Here's the fault line. There's the rear fault line. It forced a hard lean to shoot at this target, and then this popper right here. And you're either coming at it from this direction or this direction, depending on which way you shot the stage. And for right-handed shooters, clearing that barricade to point to this target I would have DQ'd half my damn squad doing it just because everybody was sucking their gun in and back to get around this barricade, and they were breaking the 180. I saw 2 people on my squad do it, and then I've seen other people post videos online where I watched them do it too. So for whatever reason, I decided I was going to come in on this popper. That probably cost me an extra quarter of a second in time as well, so that was a bad move. And my last shot that I fired was right on the perf of this no-shoot, which was frustrating. But all of that said, you can see that my gun is at slide lock right now, so I am the slide lock hero. Successfully did it. Only cost me about 4.5 seconds to shoot to 24, which was silly. Okay, this stage was real straightforward. There were basically 3 positions to shoot from. Since you can't see anything from this, I'll just let it play out, so we'll get going here. All right, there's your first position. Real straightforward. Unloaded start. And for whatever reason, I reload, leaving the position like I'm shooting production. This was in the next position. It was real straightforward. You could just do all that. Reload again because I'm shooting production, I guess. Because of where I stopped right here, you can't see it, but these targets were interesting orientations. And there's another target that disappears behind a barrel if you go any further to the left. So if you stopped about right here, you could see everything and then just go down and shoot these targets. And so I think I ran the right plan. I was about a second off the match winner on this stage. I had okay points, given all the partials. So that stage went okay. That probably a little bit too many Charlies. I think I had 8 Charlies out of 32 rounds, which is a little bit too much, but given the rest of the match, I'll take it. So this stage, raw time, I was about a half second off the match winner on this one, and it's just going to be kind of a shot cadence thing. And I think in this static position is where he probably got most of that time on me. If you watch, or if you just kind of track my camera, so basically you had to stand on the point of these fault lines, see all the dust on the fault lines. This is a stage I designed, and I made it that way on purpose so that you had to run onto these fault lines and to take this target and the other target on the other side. That was the only place you could shoot those, and then everything else you could kind of shoot static or on the move or whatever it was. I thought it was a fun stage. And everything's on the move. It's kind of slow, starting to go a little quicker. But all in, I had 2 deltas, which hurt me. So the 2 deltas on my points really hurt me. Hey, look at the brass go back into the gun. That's kind of cool. But all in, it was an okay stage. That stage went pretty good for me. It landed about 89% Adazi, which is where I should be. I'm just shooting too slow. But I think that's partially due to the fact that I've been cutting back on my live fire practice, so my confidence isn't quite there. But all in all, it was a fun match. I enjoyed it. I have to figure out how to square the circle on getting my head into the game as far as like match director stuff is concerned. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you made it this far, have a happy Thanksgiving, and I'll catch you guys later.